lots of buzz in the room again. We're almost there, the last session of the day. I really do hope you've had a useful day so far. I hope the workshops were interesting. I think the stands are still out there at the moment because there is coffee at the end of the day. So for people who don't have to rush off, please do feel free to mingle. I'm really not going to say a huge amount for the introduction to this final session of the day, other than that we've got some great speakers lined up. We've got 3 speakers, and there's a question and answer session at the end. I will try and keep it brief because I know there's been a lot of information today, hasn't there? And I think sometimes I get that sense that people are overloaded. So let's see how it goes. But please do, if you have questions, please do take the opportunity if you would like to. So there is a phrase that I've heard many times, and I understand that it actually comes from somebody in the room. Chris Roberts, where are you, Chris? Chris, who lives with dementia, and his wife Jane are both here today. And the saying is that when a diagnosis of dementia is given, it's not just given to that one person, it's given to the whole family. And it also that often involves friends as well. So I'm very pleased really to be able to hand over to our next speaker, Susie Webster, who's just going to, for a short while, share her experience of being a family carer. Susie is a co-chair of our panel at Dementia UK, and I'm sure will offer some useful insights. So thank you, Susie.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to speak. I'm not an expert in dementia at all, but I guess I'm an expert in one person's dementia, and that's my mum, having cared for her for the last probably about 10 years. So it's been an interesting journey for us all, and like Rachel said through Chris, that the day mum was diagnosed finally, and that was after 10 years of trying to get a diagnosis for her. On that day, finally, there was a sense of relief that we finally knew what was wrong, and in a way, we would then know how to support and care for Mum for the rest of her life. And although a devastating diagnosis, a terminal diagnosis, we felt that we were ready then to get the help and support we needed to enable Mum to live the rest of her life as happily as possible with us. And we waited for the professionals to turn up. And they didn't really come. The leaflet that we were given by the psychiatrist told us very little, apart from there was a singing group in the area that we could join, but there was a waiting list of over a year. Devastating diagnosis, little support. Finally, after knocking on a few doors, we did get some support. And it's been said already today, I know, but at one point we had 7 or 8 different health and social care professionals coming in and out of our lives. They didn't know my mum. They didn't know us. We didn't know them. We didn't know what most of their roles and responsibilities were anyway. And I remember my dad very vividly saying to me, "What's a CPN and what's an OT, Suze?" Because he didn't know these things. So for a long time, we felt completely lost, lonely, surrounded by a lot of people who were trying to help, but always and continuously asked us the same questions. So Mum and Dad moved over from lovely Taunton to live with us in South Wales 6 years ago, knowing that for us as a family, the only way that we were going to get through this was to pull together. I'm very, very aware that dementia blows many families apart. For us, it didn't. We were in a unique situation. In our house now there's 6 of us, my mum, my dad, my husband, my 2 children who are 12 and 9, on a dog. Not a dementia dog, just a dog. It's a unique situation because obviously it's complete chaos, like most of your houses, I'm sure. And the different dynamics of the people that live in that house make life busy, makes today respite for me, so thank you. And also learning so much about love and life. How privileged I am to care for someone who cared for me. How privileged I am now that Mum's in later stage dementia. She has very little speech, but the other day, clear as anything, she said, "I love you." How privileged I am that she holds me closer now than she's ever held me before. I want to be able to continue to care for my mum, but I need help to do that. I need help. My dad needs help. My husband too, because he often pins this all together, but so do my children. As I said, they're 9 and 12. They didn't know Mum before her diagnosis. They've taught me so much about how to care for her. If there was a GCSE in caring, they would have it now. Sadly, there isn't. But they've taught me to see Mum for the person she is now, not to continuously think about the person that I've lost, because I have lost her in a way, and I really miss her. To not continuously fret about what's going to happen next, but to think about the here and now and the privilege of caring for her. But my children need help too. At the moment, I'm feeling like it's a one-person mission to raise awareness of, like Chris says, when your mum was diagnosed, we were all diagnosed too. To get them the proper emotional support that they need. Let's face it, they're living with someone who's dying. If my mum had a cancer diagnosis, my children would have the right support in form of a Macmillan nurse. We live in Wales. There's 3 Admiral nurses in the whole of Wales. It's not good enough. I've spoken to the school. They've offered psychology. It didn't work. They said, your children aren't messed up enough. Not yet. I've tried to talk to the Carers Trust, the carers organisations, to say my children are young carers. But they've said unless they're delivering personal care to your mum, they don't fit the criteria. So my children are left often alone. They don't always want to talk to me about how they feel. And it's a real issue that I'm trying to raise more awareness about. This, to me, is so much more than a blue badge, a sticker that you put on to say you're a friend. This is about the proper emotional support that we need. We know, we get told the statistics. Today has been a lot about statistics, about policies, about procedures, but the real life stuff, this ain't hitting us. We're at home, I'm sat in the audience today and I'm thinking about my mum sat at home and thinking that a lot of this doesn't touch her. Enough of the talking, enough of the preaching, let's just get on with this stuff now, because it's easy. Everybody here in this audience could well be a person with dementia. This is about kindness. This is about holding somebody's hand. This is about walking with them, and we can all do that. We're all here for the reason that we care about this subject, and we can all do that. Let's take away all the crap that surrounds this and talk about the real life stuff, the stuff that you and I want, the stuff that you and I need. And then hopefully we've got a better pathway for dementia care. So thank you.